Okay, this is a Rogue recap. Some of my favorite moments from the last Rogue Grand Prix. So let's kick it off with the champ, Thali. She opened it up with a huge takedown, throwing her opponent to the mount. And a lot of the time she spent in dominant position on her way to the final. You can see her here starting to pressure for an Americana to get her weight behind the tricep there. And then she's going to be able to go to technical mount up on her right foot. Step over for the arm lock and gets her first submission, punches her ticket to the semifinal. Her second match against Charlene, Charlene actually hit a really nice half guard sweep here. I was teaching a variation of this recently. She came up on the underhook, but you'll see Thali's able to scoop under her leg. So when she comes up on top, she scoots out underneath, and then she's able to get back up. And eventually, she worked her way into a similar position to the last match, but Charlene still had her foot, so she adjusted this time by going to the back. I thought it was interesting that 5 of the 7 matches in this bracket finished with arm locks, and Thali had quite a few. So you see her with the body triangle briefly here. Charlene's trying to kind of fish around with her foot to try to step out. She's able to escape one hip. Thali switches over to the other side. She eventually works back to this 3/4 mount position where she had a lot of success in her first match. She's climbing her knees up higher and higher, putting Charlene under pressure here. Charlene did a great job of holding onto the leg and keeping that half guard, but she kind of goes to her knees here. And Thali has a good lock on the arm. She fully commits to this arm lock, gets her leg over the face, stretches the arm out, and gets a submission. Very nicely done. How about the other finalist, Haley Beaton? She also looked very sharp. In her first match here against Jennifer, she hit a nice knee cut pass here, and she's going to look to control her opponent's head. Here, very good position. Secures the pass. Haley then hits a terrific knee slide to mount. Secures her position. I thought it was interesting that mount seemed to be the favored position over the back in this bracket, but that's just how it works out sometimes. And she goes for a similar setup that Thali used actually in the last match, going for the arm lock, but she, instead of her opponent going to her back, she ends up finishing this one belly down here as Jennifer falls back and then kind of tumbles over, and she extends the arm. Another arm lock finish. This was probably the match of the tournament. Haley against Abby. This was an extremely technical match. Abby escaped submission after submission in this one. It was quite crazy to watch. She just escaped out of an omoplata, and now she's in a fully locked Kimura here out of the omoplata, but she's able to straighten her arm just in the nick of time and then rolls through to get out of it. But now as she comes up, Haley switches to a fully locked guillotine in the full guard, and this was still in the opening few minutes of the match. And like I said, this was the match of the tournament. This went, I think, around 21 minutes. And it was all action the whole time. Haley goes from a guillotine to a triangle. So, quite a string of submissions. She went omoplata, Kimura, guillotine. Now she's got her in the triangle, but Abby is extremely composed and secure in her defense. Having to deal with all this in the first few minutes of the match is very tough, especially a no time limit match. Your partner's not worried about the points. They're just going to keep attacking submissions, and that just wears on you if you have to keep defending. But Abby's able to defend the triangle well as Haley tightens it up. She's stacking her opponent here, kind of wedging, turning, forcing Haley to switch to another submission, an arm lock this time. But Abby's getting up to her feet. You can see her kind of shimmying her arm out there. Now she's stacking Haley's knee to her face, a very effective arm lock escape, but she switches back again to the triangle. She went to pull the head, but she switches back again to the arm lock. Nice how she's kind of just trading back and forth, but Abby's able to really get a real effective stack here, and she's out. And now is her first opportunity to try to go on offense. Abby ended up in a north-south position, but as she adjusts and tries to go back to a normal side control, Haley is able to get her frames in and recompose the guard. And she hits a very well-timed scissor sweep here, gets her knee in, boom. Abby has a chance to go to a single leg X guard here, but Haley takes her leg out. She decides to stand up instead. There's also a lot of takedowns used in this tournament, which is really cool to see. One's coming up here, actually, where Haley secures the guillotine, and she's going to hit a nice throw. Here, she kind of pulls her opponent down, goes to her back, and puts the hook in. A very nice throw off of the hook sweep. So again, you can just see how she pauses, see how her feet are kind of in place there on the legs, snaps her opponent down, throws them back, and also ends up in a perfect position to keep attacking the guillotine, putting pressure on her opponent. Still controlling the head. Haley's eventually going to step over to mount here. She can't quite get the finish because Abby looks to have control of the wrist, and she's able to pull it away from her neck. But Haley still is in really good position now in the mount, still has control of the head. And she's going to look to turn this into a triangle choke, actually, which seemed to be one of her favorite attacks in this tournament. And she used it well. So here she's trying to switch to the triangle, but Abby's trying to sneak out the back door. She has, looks like, control of one leg. Actually, she had a real nice opportunity to possibly enter into the legs there. But instead, she nearly gets on Haley's back here. She's almost there, but Haley quickly reacts and she spins out on top. She's almost in a north-south. But then Abby reverses and gets on top. This match was insane. And here, she's in a good position. But Haley had very good guard recovery. See how Abby tries to step over there, but Haley's still catching the foot here, and she switches to a Kimura here. She's starting to lock up onto Abby's left arm. She has the elbow away from the body. She has to pull the hand away and try to push it towards Abby's head, but Abby's doing a good job staying heavy with her shoulder. See how she's kind of hugging Haley's back there, staying nice and tight. Right now, space is her enemy, so she wants to stay nice and snug to Haley, not let her rip that arm free. She's dropping her hip, creating more pressure, walking towards the head, creating more pressure. Still looking to escape that leg. She's outside the guard, and she's out of the Kimura. Now she's in side control, and she's secured the position. But Haley is able to get her legs in again. And this is a very high pace for a no time limit match. I've been involved in several of these, and there's definitely times where you have to kind of gear down and slow down and recover. But these ladies don't seem to be doing that at all. They're just getting after it. Abby's pressuring now, and she's finally going to escape her foot and secure the mount here. But Haley just times a bridge very nicely because Abby had her hand committed to the wrist. So she was able to hit it, bridge her over. Now working from closed guard. Haley doing a great job of controlling Abby's posture. She throws up the high guard and attacks the arm lock, but Abby escaped out of it before. She escapes again, right into a pass. She's trying to turn the corner, pressuring on the leg. Here she gets by, goes back to the three-quarter mount, and now she's in control again. And this transition coming up here, I think Abby wants the back, but she's forced to almost kind of switch for the arm lock. And she's in between arm lock and mount here. But as she tries to get up, there's just a little too much space, and Haley's able to re-guard. And this is deep into the match now. We're getting towards the end. And Haley looks to go for a hip bump. Abby's holding, trying to pin her back down. She goes for the hip bump again, and this time turns it into a triangle attempt. Abby's holding the foot, but Haley shakes it free. And now she has the triangle locked. But it looks like it's locked kind of the opposite of the normal way, but you can still get the finish that way sometimes. It's just a little bit trickier. And being so deep into the match, too, definitely plays a factor. Your energy bar is not what it was at the start of the match. And she knocks her over. Here, getting up, so now she's got the mounted triangle. I find that much worse if I'm stuck in the triangle. And now she's just kind of trying to just stay put here, just doesn't want to give up the position. Holding the triangle. Abby's trying to bridge, trying to bring her legs up. Almost kind of got a got a guard in front of Haley's face, or in front of her waist there. But she was able to knock it off. She posts with her hand. She's in really good base. Abby's doing everything she can to try to create some space to get out of this triangle. But as she extends the arm, Haley gets the tap. Very impressive match. 21 minutes, according to my watch. Then we had the final, Thalia against Haley. Very anticipated matchup for the belt. Thalia hit a very nice single leg. Scooped it up, kicked the other foot out. She's on the pass. Haley goes up, but Thalia transitions to a body lock and then puts her down and then right into mount, which is really a killer from that. Not only does she get the takedown, but she secures the mount. And she proved very tough to do much from defensively in the first two matches. Haley does the best that she can here. She's trying to turn and try to trap that foot. You can see her going with her leg. Here she secures the foot. The next step would be to secure the knee, but they reset position, and Thalia's able to grab the collar with the gi and just jam it into Haley's neck, making it super uncomfortable. It makes it tougher to even perform the escape, but she still secures the knee and gets the half guard. But in the end, Thalia was able to overcome this and everything her opponents threw at her on that day, and she ended up winning this match by cross choke and secured the belt, so congrats to her. One final match I wanted to highlight from this event in this bracket was Charlene and Kayla. And this was also an awesome match. Kayla had an old school Gracie style, and Charlene had a good arm lock that Kayla had to defend several times. Let's take a look at it. Kayla opened it up with a takedown. Nice old school trip here. Charlene almost reverses with a kind of a collar drag, gets back up, but Kayla does the same thing, this time to the inside leg, a little different. But now she's able to get her down, secures the half guard, and now she's looking to hug the neck here. Charlene's looking to replace the guard. She brings her knee up. Kayla's trying to push it down and step over. Charlene gets back to close guard. She's climbing the high guard. You see a lot of arm locks come from when your partner starts to climb their legs up high onto your back here. She had a chance to kind of scoop under the leg and attack the arm lock, but Kayla went back down. She goes back up. Here she should be looking to kind of get her shoulders back in. Charlene attacks the arm lock. This was on fairly tight, and this was still very early in the match. Kayla stood up and kind of shook her off to get some of the pressure off. She should really pin her knee to her face, but wow, she's able to get out of it. Very impressive. Close guard situation now. Kayla stands up. But the issue here is her bent over posture. She should really look to stand up and break that collar grip while holding a sleeve. She goes to break the grip here, but Charlene controls the sleeve here, and now with her being kind of bent over, it's going to allow Charlene to hook onto the other arm, attack the arm lock again, but Kayla responds by putting a knee in the butt and escaping quickly. Now we're back into the guard. Charlene has a hold of the collar, replaces the closed guard. This match was somewhere around 11 minutes, and they were also going at a good pace. Kayla goes to stand again. She's going for the knee in the butt guard break, but Charlene goes for the far leg, and then she hooks under the near leg, responding really well, going for that arm lock attack again, but she's forced to go back to closed. Seems like she may have kind of injured her hand there, kind of shaking out her hand. But back on another arm lock attempt here. Kind of interesting how these matches play out sometimes. You'll see one submission in this match attacked over and over, where Haley and Abby, Haley was chaining together multiple submission attacks, which, not saying one is better than the other, just kind of interesting to see how the strategy plays out. So you're kind of seeing Kayla now have to deal with Charlene's attacks from the bottom. Right now, having a little bit of a tough time getting out of this closed guard. As she goes to get out, Charlene thinks about an omoplata, goes to the triangle instead. She's pulling down on the head. Triangle's not quite locked there. You can still see a little bit of space. Kayla's pushing the knee. She falls over. Attacking the arm lock again, but Kayla has a foot over, which can kind of throw a wrench in the plans. And as Charlene goes to sit up, the arm comes free. And now Kayla's on the bottom. So Charlene was able to pass the guard, and she's in the mount here. Trying to get a hand in the collar. You see her hand go out for base. She's going to technical mount briefly up on the foot. Here, Kayla looking to secure the half guard. Charlene climbing the mount up. Here, if her right foot goes into the armpit, like it is now, she's going to have a great opportunity to go for the arm lock. And she takes the finish while still on top. Holy moly, another arm lock finish. Everyone in this bracket fought so well, and you should check out the full matches on Rogue's YouTube channel.